What really makes us better people is our capacity to question the status quo to achieve positive change. If you are seeking to adopt new habits, to learn about a kind lifestyle, low-waste living, and speaking up for justice, you have come to the right place. Together, we will make the switch that will light up this world. I'm Morgan, and I'm happy to welcome you on this journey. Hi beautiful souls, welcome to this new episode of the Positive Switch podcast. As you've seen in the title, today we will be talking about health. I just want to make a quick, short disclaimer, although I shouldn't have to make that one because you probably know I am no nutritionist, no health medical expert whatsoever, and it is your freedom to make your own decisions based on your research, but I just want to bring you a piece of my own life experience with my health and hoping it will maybe help you to guide you in your future decisions. Okay, so to give you a little bit of background, I was raised on a omnivore diet like the majority of people. My parents cared and still care about their health, and they were always trying to focus on buying local organic foods. So that's how I was also made aware that I should focus on eating lots of veggies and lots of fruit and grains and some legumes. So in that sense, I would say I was very lucky that I had that kind of awareness, to just have an abundance of different plant-based foods in the diet, because I know for a fact that it's not the case in many families. And for example, regarding my boyfriend, he didn't grow up actually eating, lots of legumes or an abundance of salads and legumes and stuff like this during the meals. So yeah, I was lucky for that part. I would say I was quite often sick growing up. I never really had like hard fever or that kind of stuff. I think I had the flu one time in my life when I was living in the US, and otherwise I think once a year until I was 20, 22, something like this. Once every year I would maybe get a cold, and from time to time maybe some headaches. I quite early I kind of figured out that I didn't want to be sustaining just depending on medication, on drugs. So I was always looking for a way out of drugs and to kind of heal myself with different alternatives. So yeah, I was sick here and there. I also grew up having allergies. I was allergic to cats, and I just had some kind of respiratory allergies, if I may say so. And from, I guess, when I was 18 until I was 24, I was having quite on a chronic basis. I was having sinusitis, which is an inflammation of the sinuses, which are I think it's here, and it goes it goes in your upper cheeks, in the jaw, until the ears. It's very complex. It goes in the nose. It's everything that binds the nose and ears. And yeah, there were my sinuses were just stuffed chronically at least once to twice a year from when I was 18 to when I was 24. And if you've never had that, like, I can just tell you, for me it was a nightmare, because you feel like your whole head is stuffed and your nose is just so blocked, like that you feel like you can't breathe with your nose, and you're experiencing some headaches. As soon as basically you kind of lean down or lean forward, then you experience like really harsh headaches. And it wasn't, let's say it wasn't like a nice ride. It wasn't a roller coaster ride. I mean, in some aspects it was, like the terror aspect, whatever. It wasn't pleasant. And quite early, we had this like family doctor who had already warned me, talked to us about how dairy products are linked to allergies and that we should avoid them. So I'm grateful that he made us aware of that. My mom was never a fan of dairy, so she kind of never drank dairy milk. But for me, it came a bit later that I stopped consuming dairy products. But if you're wondering, just do your research, consult nutritionfacts.org or Nutrition Facts on YouTube. But very often dairy products are just causing like different kinds of harm in the body. It's linked to diabetes, inflammation in the body, respiratory diseases, and many more. So yeah, if you want to improve some conditions, it might be worth it to think about, to consider getting rid of dairy products and all the animal products, which we will see later on in this episode. So there you have it. I was prone to allergies, I had sinusitis, I had some headaches and colds growing up, and there was a period of time where I was just like, it was the phase where basically everybody was kind of demonizing gluten. It was just everywhere, and like everybody should go gluten free. Just like right now, there's all the what's the word? The fuzz, yeah, the fuss about keto diets. At that time, it was like gluten is bad and gluten is evil. So there was a period of time where I was really trying hardly to get rid of gluten in any way, shape, or form. And it's just not until I met my boyfriend that I, with his background of nutritionist and all the science that he's been studying all the time, I kind of started to listen to him and do my own research about gluten. And just by changing my diet and like getting rid of all the refined forms of gluten, I started realizing that gluten was not the cause of my allergies or like belly aches, but it was just more the refined gluten. And right now I include gluten in my diet in form of whole grain. So it's whole wheat pasta or whole wheat bulgur, whole wheat couscous, that kind of those kind of grains. And like ever since I've been eating those kind of whole intact forms of grains, I've never experienced the things I used to experience, the bad things I used to experience with gluten. So that's for that part of the story. And yeah, I just overcame that thought that gluten was evil, figured out by myself. And before I arrived to Germany in 2018, I would say I was predominantly eating a raw plant-based diet. Especially it was like even more predominant when I was living in Scotland in 2016. And in that period of time, I was eating like a raw diet for several months. And at this same time, I had completely lost my menstruations. This is called amenorrhea. So menorrhea, at the beginning, menorrhea being the menstrual periods, and the A at the front of the word make it the absence of menstrual periods, which is not a good thing. And at that time, my periods were just gone for several months, and I was actually happy. I was like kind of celebrating it. Because if you think about it, like most women experience pain, which I don't really experience on my periods, at least not a lot, nothing really significant. But I still felt like a bit more free, and yeah, I was like really enjoying it, although it's nothing you should enjoy, and it's actually a sign that something is going wrong or that you're not eating properly. So you should pay attention to this kind of signs. And as for many vegans who are now no longer vegans, I would say as for many people who used to eat like 100% plant-based diet, the most common reasons they have failed is because they weren't eating a proper diet, which was composed of a diversity of whole foods. They were missing some nutrients in their diets, and as you will see, many of them actually had a predominantly raw diet. And one of the conditions, one of the signs that they experienced that something was going wrong with their health was amenorrhea, so the absence of menstrual periods. And then, yeah, I think, well, obviously I changed my diet, and a couple of months later, my periods came back. And it was actually a relief, because only at that point I realized, okay, I'm a woman, I'm supposed to experience menstrual periods until a certain age, and if they're gone, that's not really a sign that my body is properly functioning. So when they came back, I realized, okay, I'm thankful for this, because it's a sign that my body is functioning well. And yeah, that's something to celebrate. So if you're watching this, if you're listening to this, and you're a woman, or at least you have periods, be thankful for your periods, because it's a sign that you're doing well. Yeah, so that happened too. And now let's just get to the point. What did I change that now made that I haven't been sick for over 2 years? I've just been eating a whole food plant-based diet. Not completely raw, not completely cooked. It's a mix of both, but I just basically make sure that I include in my diet every day the five most important food groups. So that's to say vegetables, fruit, whole grains, nuts and seeds, and legumes. So every day I just make sure that I really have an abundance, a big variety of these different foods that I include. Basically, my logo, like my motto, would be for you, eat the rainbow, and that's why my boyfriend and I have made a YouTube channel that carries that name. And if you're curious and you want to learn more about how to make your plate a rainbow, then check out the channel. I will just leave the link in the description box. And yeah, ever since I've been eating the rainbow, paying attention to putting as much as I can, as many colors as I can on my plate, I've just never felt so great. Of course, there are times where I might be a bit more tired, or like not 100% feeling optimal, but I mean, I've never been sick. Like, I've never had any, like, yeah, most people would call them like common sicknesses, like common illness, like every now and then the fever or a cold or just coughing, I guess. Like, I haven't had that for over 2 years. Yeah, so that's definitely a sign that everything has been going well, and I'm so grateful for this. So, I don't know why you clicked on this video or on this podcast, wherever you're watching or listening to it from. But just know that I'm not going to bring you a miracle solution to your health, and there is no miracle solution. Just at the same time, it's not really rocket science to have an optimal health. It's all about bringing as many different kind of foods in your diet, avoiding animal products, which are just linked to so many health conditions and diseases. And yeah, and plus they just bring so much pain and suffering and murder. So it's nothing that I want to include in my life, especially because it doesn't align with my values, with who I am. I know that I can be healthy without hurting anyone or without murdering anyone, so I choose to do so. And yet there's no miracle. I'm not bringing you a fancy or trendy solution, like whatever people might hear, like fasting is going to be the miracle for your health, or like so-called detox, which like your body is self-detoxifying all the time. Like it's regulating itself and getting rid of the bad things, and it's doing its own thing and healing itself if you just eat the right types of foods. If you just eat a variety of like life-bringing foods, you don't need to detoxify your body. It's just as simple. And I wish it was as simple to understand for everyone, but unfortunately there's also marketing which is playing a big role in this, and which influences people a lot. So I know it's really easy to get confused about what to eat and what not to eat. But if you just like look around you and look at what nature has intended for all of us, it's just so obvious that all the colors that we see in the gardens of people or in nature has just meant for us to provide us with everything that we need. And that's all the colors of the rainbow, and foods that cannot feel pain, foods that can't scream like an animal would do. And yeah, there is like, ever since I've been eating that way, I haven't been in need of fasting or doing a colon cleanse. And sometimes I know for people it can sound like very attractive and like they're doing something new and it's very exciting. But you gotta think, like fasting and colon cleanses are specific medical interventions that have to be supervised. They're usually resorted to for extreme like conditions, and it's not something that you can just like hop on and do whenever you feel like. At least, I mean, if you're doing intermittent fasting and you're feeling fine and you feel like somehow it's adding some value to your health, then do it. But if you're wanting to fast for like more than 2 days or 3 days, then I would seriously advise you to have it supervised by a medical, some kind of medical staff. And yeah, like I said, there's no miracle, there's no panacea, like a remedy for everything. And I'm not saying that this is a cure-it-all, like just by eating a whole food plant-based diet 100% is gonna heal every health conditions that you have. But at least you can be sure that it will improve them. It might reverse some of those conditions that you might have. And if you have never had any particular problem, then, well, you will just like keep an optimal health, or you can even improve it a little. So it's just a win-win for everyone. It's a win-win for the planet when you choose such a diet, because less resources need to be used. And it's a win-win for the animals who don't have to die at the end of the day. So please just give it a look. like do some research into it and just try it, experience it, make the experience for yourself, research, question everything, and be sure to have the good sources of information. Like I said, nutritionfacts.org. Look for the Physician Committee for Responsible Medicine, the Exam Room podcast, and many more. I wish you a beautiful rest of your day. Please don't hesitate to leave a review or a comment under this video, and make sure that you subscribe or at least follow the podcast on Apple Podcasts so that you are noticed every time a new episode is out. Thank you for listening. Thank you for tuning in. I wish you a beautiful rest of your day, and I will see you in the next one. Bye bye.